Another part of junior year was my literature class. I enjoyed it because we got to read aloud and also perform skits. There are many people who don't like to be called upon to read and will often refuse to do so if chosen. I was not at all like that. I loved to make the words come alive. The teacher would call upon someone to read and then that person would have to recite a passage, then pick the next person to read and so forth. I was honored that people chose me because they knew how much I got into it. We did The Raven and The Crucible. Then we were going to have to break into groups and then perform a skit based upon literature we would write. I had this idea that I was spitballing in the courtyard one day. Then an offhand comment from one of the other students at lunch got the wheels in my head turning. In our group it was myself, 2 students, one of whom was deaf, and his interpreter. This actually worked in our favor as we were able to have 4 people to fill out the scene. I talked with one of the kids and at first he was too embarrassed to go on, but he got it together at the last minute. The interpreter was willing to be in our skit, so long as the deaf student had a part, and we convinced her that he did. All scripts had to have approval from the teacher and right before the skits were to begin, the teacher pulled us out into the hall. I explained to her the idea behind the script and the misdirection at play. So even though she had her reservations, she let us perform what we had written. What no one in the class knew was that all performances were going to be filmed. There were 4 or 5 groups including ours, but most of them had no real performance to them. Then it was our turn. Our group of 4 had no rehearsal and did our skit in one take. So I was playing a businessman. One student was playing Mr. Oshi. The deaf student was playing the chef and stirring the sauce. And his interpreter was playing a cop. So Mr. Oshi is standing there. The cop comes up to him and says,
"Hey buddy. Got a permit?"
He shows it to her, then she walks off. I, the businessman, come walking up, reading the newspaper. I brought props. Mr. Oshi says to me,
"Hey, you try my sauce!"
The student who is deaf mimics like he is stirring the sauce. I tell Mr. Oshi, "No, I gotta get to work." Mr. Oshi says to me,
"Come on! Don't be a jerk!"
I still walk on like I'm uninterested. Finally, Mr. Oshi reaches into his jacket and pulls out a taser. He brought a prop, his electric razor. He says to me,
"Take that!"
I dive back as the papers flew into the air screaming Oshi. The interpreter as the cop walks back into view. They both look down at me and she says to him,
"Where can I get one of those?"
I quickly jump to my feet and say, "Well, you can get them at." Mr. Oshi turns to me and says,
"Shut up!"
then zaps me again with the taser. I dive back again, once again screaming, "Oshi." Mr. Oshi says,
Bullshit tasers. You can get them at Hodges or by calling 555 Oshi.
They thought it was about sauce, when it was really about tasers. Everyone was laughing. We got a huge round of applause and most importantly, we did it in one take. We had a party for a teacher's aide who was finally becoming a teacher a week later where we all brought food. As we ate, we got to watch every performance and once again we stole the show.